Dr. Sisk said this morning that there's 3 ways you can be involved with missions, and that is to pray, give, and go. And really, that's been our message for Baylight and how you all can be involved. We've called it Unite with Baylight. And so briefly tonight, I'm going to address those 3 areas and kind of give you some more information. If you do follow us in our update letters and on social media, some of this stuff is going to be repetitive, but hopefully some of this is going to be new for some of you. But the first thing I want to do is I want to give you some things you can pray about. Of course, the move on December 7th. That's when we're officially moving from North Carolina to California. And by the way, we're going to come back here Sunday night, December 6th. So we will have a chance to say bye to all of you officially before we hit the road. But just please pray about that, the move across the country with our U-Haul truck. Secondly is finding an apartment to live in. And so I've told somebody today, really, when we get there will be some available apartments. It's just a matter of whether or not we want to wait for something that's on the first floor, because they have first floor apartments that have garages attached to them, which would be a huge bonus for us in having people over for discipleship and for meals and different things. So really, it determines on whether or not we want to wait for something like that or just go ahead and move into something that's available, which would be like a second or third floor apartment. Then, of course, the Bible study that we want to start in March or April. Again, move there in December, start the Bible study in March or April. And I was just telling somebody before the service, everything's so crazy out in California, everything's so crazy in the whole country, really. But if we started tomorrow, our Bible study would probably take place virtually. Because we don't own a facility, and so we're going to have to rent something, and when you're renting something, you don't have as much freedom to use it, especially with the restrictions. So pray about the Bible study coming up in March and April. And then fourthly, for more supporters, of course, many of you know our timeline. Our plan is to move there and raise more support after living there and do that on the weekends while having the Bible study during the week. So just pray that we can get more supporters. And then lastly, for prayer requests, that we would just meet the right people who would have a place for us to rent. And I can't remember if Brother Caleb mentioned that this morning, but God has provided a great place for them for their Bible study at an incredible price. And it's just cool to see how God crossed his path with somebody that lived there locally. And we want to have the same thing. So be praying that God would lead us across the path of someone who has something that we can rent to use for our Bible study, but also to use whenever we start the church. So the first way is pray. The second way is give. Many of you give financially. Thank you for that. And one thing I want to say about this, the money that has come in so far really has just been for our general expenses. Now that we're moving to California, we're going to have some more specific expenses. And so our game plan right now is the money that we get from other churches, that's going to go for our personal living expenses. So the rent for the apartment and other living expenses. But then the money that comes in from individuals here at Fellowship, that's going to go for the Bible study and anything related with that. Again, possibly renting something, curriculum that we would use. But then also we're going to do some community events leading up to the big day. And we're going to use the money that individuals at Fellowship, people at Fellowship give to pay for those events that we're going to do. The plan is to do that starting in April and have 5 to 6 community events leading up to October where we can meet people in the community, serve them in different ways. And so that's what your money is going to be going for. I wanted to kind of let you know that because I wanted you to know that your money is going to be used for something specifically as we get into this thing. And then the last way you can unite with Daylight, and that is by going. Many of you have asked about coming to visit us whenever we get out there. I want to say there's 2 ways that you can do that if you're interested in coming out there for a visit. Again, when we do these community events, these are going to be things that we can use multiple people to be involved with. And so as we begin to schedule some of these things beginning in April, going through September, you can reach out to us about that. And then, of course, with the big day or big days, and the reason I say big days is because the approach that we're going to have is we're actually leaning more towards having multiple Sundays as our launch or grand opening or whatever we decide to call it. That way we don't have just one day where so many people come to visit and then the next Sunday there's no one there. And so the plan is to do multiple Sundays, and we're going to make that the start of Baylight. And so if you're interested in coming out for a visit, whether it's for one of the community events that you can help with or for the start of Baylight, please let us know because unfortunately, we can't provide the lodging and the transportation for you. We like all of you, but we don't like you enough to share a room with you in our tiny apartment. And so if you decide to come out, you would be responsible for taking care of your own lodging and transportation. And there's a lot of other things we want to discuss about that. But please communicate with us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave some of our prayer cards back in the tables back there. So maybe on Wednesday or next Sunday, whenever you come back, you can get our information. If you're here tonight and you don't get our update letters, please let me know. I want to get you plugged into that so you can stay in tune with what's going on and how the Lord is blessing. And he really has blessed. I was just telling somebody before the service, this past week, we had one day where we had 3 new supporting churches take us on, and it was for the amount of $650 total between the 3 churches. And so God is continuing to bless. Last time we were here, I told you about the trailer full of equipment that somebody donated to us. I went through the stuff, and it actually equals about $12,000 worth of equipment that was just given to us. So God is obviously blessing, and one major reason I believe why he's doing that is because you guys are praying and you guys are giving. So thank you for that. And again, we're going to be here Sunday night, December 6th. So if we don't tell you bye tonight, we'll hope to tell you bye on that night. Thank you.
All right.